Hello ladies and gentlemen, this is BlueMaxima. Please, for the love of God, do not let me fail as badly as I did on Stealth Inc. This is PixelJunk Monsters Ultimate HD, a HD version, haha, of the ever so popular PS3 and PlayStation Portable game. Let's just have a quick look around. You got one player, you got two player, which is done by ad hoc of all things. I'm not gonna go into that. You got online play, you got your Tiki Hut, which I'm not really sure what you do other than these medal challenges. I'll come back to them though. You've got your simple tutorial, but I'll explain all that. In the options, you've got your ring menu, your tower menu. It's all pretty basic stuff. I'll explain it all, and of course your background music and your sound effects volumes. But let's go to one player. I'm going to play on casual because that's what I've been playing on, and I suck at regular. Then again, I suck at this game normally. Alright, so when you start out, you see these three islands. Unfortunately, you can't get to these two on the right here because they need a certain amount of rainbows. I'll explain them in a minute. And you've also got Tum Tum Island, which lets you uniquely generate names. Stages based on specific names, so I could just, if I just did this, I could generate a stage based on the word bum, but I'm not gonna do that just yet. First thing we're gonna do is have a look at the first easy level. So, you are this little tiki guy here. I have no idea what the connection is to anything about this. But the idea is you go up to these trees and you use coins to build towers. And these towers will shoot at these monsters. They die, they give out coins that you can use to build more towers against more steadily deadlier waves of enemies. And you start out with only like 3 towers, and then later on you can either collect, that little blue thing there that I just picked up, that's a gem, and that lets you either automatically upgrade a tower to make them more powerful, or you can save them up to get more advanced towers. Towers have your basic upgrades, like, well, there's no buying upgrades. It's basically just either experience or you just standing on them like this, because if you stand on them for long enough, it'll basically give some XP to the tower. It's a pretty basic tower defense game, but it's good. It's got a good theme behind it. That's for sure. I'll just press L and I can zoom out. The controls are pretty obvious. You move around with the left stick. You press X on things to make them, on the right thing you press circle, but you press X on things to, make them spawn things like cannons and stuff. To make them spawn, towers, I should say. And you press L to zoom in or out, but you can also use the touchscreen for some of these moves. Like if I tap, I can move anywhere I like, but I prefer the analog stick because it's a more precise form of control. That cannon there is basically an area of effect attack. Once it fires, it'll do damage in a specific radius. You gotta be careful not to go wandering into those spiders or to any enemies at all, because if you hit them, you will fall over and drop a bunch of your coins. And the game just continues like that. There can be anywhere between 5 and 20 waves per stage, although there are definitely a lot more 10s and 20s than there are 5s. Let's just get this arrow tower upgraded. Now let's work on this cannon. It's a very good looking game. The animations are really smooth, although they do tend to be a little bit, they don't tend to have that many frames. It's alright though. I got no problem with that. Music's alright as well. I should probably build some more towers along here. I'll just build a couple more cannons. You have to build your towers in the trees, and if you walk through the trees, sometimes you might be given extra gems or extra coins. Here come the big guys. These guys take a lot of hits. I'm not sure what else I have to say about this game, really, so I guess I'll just start talking about other stuff. The game does include online co-op for up to 8 players. I only had 1 or 2 chances to test this out with an editor of PSN stores, but the game worked almost flawlessly. I had a little bit of input lag, but in a game where you're playing across the bloody Pacific Ocean and all you get is a little bit of input lag, it's as good as it's going to get, really, especially since it's like 200 milliseconds away by most internet connection standards. It has its own little text chat feature and its own little set of prompts. Like as an example, I can just do that, and that comes up on other players' screens as well. No real use to it outside of multiplayer, especially if you have like a party going and you got friends to talk to. But you know, it's there if you need it. If you go up to here, you can actually choose, if you have enough gems, you can choose to unlock things. So I'm just going to unlock this Tesla tower. Gotta be careful not to get hit by the spiders, because if I do, I just lose as many bloody coins as you can imagine. Let's see, that Tesla tower is 250, so I'm gonna have to wait a little bit longer. The 3 basic towers you start out with are okay, but unless you're really good at this game, it can sometimes feel like you're getting really overwhelmed, because sometimes in the second and third waves, you'll be something will be thrown at you, and you'll be like, "Holy shit! How could I have been prepared for that?" And it's a little bit disheartening when you're only 2 waves in and get hit by something so hard and fast that it pretty much just kills you off instantly. And the game is very difficult, I have to say, because it often feels like a lot of trial and error. I mean, like, I like games better that basically say, if you know the mechanics well enough, you can pass every stage with ease. And unfortunately, there's not that much to know here, because you can put so many towers in so many places to repel so many different types of attacks. It just gets a little bit disheartening having to try some levels over and over again. And it's made a fair bit worse by the fact that you literally have to get perfects on levels by keeping every one of your monsters alive, because basically, you know, if one enemy gets to the end, he'll take out one of your guys, and if 20 of them get taken out, it's game over. But if you don't get a perfect, you don't get a rainbow. If you don't save all of them, you don't get a rainbow. And if you don't get a rainbow, it actually gets really hard to progress, because a lot of the levels are locked behind rainbow gates. You need a specific amount of rainbows to actually pull it off. And yeah, it just yeah, see, I've just gone and lost one, so that's pretty much no progression for me on this level. But yeah, it's a little bit bad in my opinion. It's a bit of a bad mechanic, because having to perfect all the levels means you can be stuck on some levels for a really long time, especially since the game's a tower defense game with a fair bit of trial and error to begin with, and you still end up having to perfect as many levels as you can in order to move on. Because as you saw, those other islands require like 5 and 10 rainbows to unlock. There are some levels that are hidden behind gates. Like, I'll show one off once I'm done on this level. And yeah, it just gets a little annoying after a while, because having to repeat all the levels again and again because you can't get perfects. Like, losing that one little guy at the very end of a level and finding out that you have to go and do it again just to get a rainbow is frustrating as hell. I mean, like, the game's sorta well designed, I guess. I mean, like, I feel like that I don't know enough to really get perfects, and I have to keep going through the trial and error method. But I mean, it's got a lot of good ideas behind it. It is fun to play, no matter how frustrating it is. Then again, this is like one of the highest rated games on the PlayStation Network, so then again, what the hell do I know? I wonder if I can do anything special. I don't think I can. But this boss is coming up. It's gonna be a pretty simple boss, especially since I've got like 3 Tesla towers and lots of cannons. Don't think it can get anywhere near me. I'm just gonna hide in the trees. Hello. What? Holy shit, that guy's just a mask. He doesn't have a face. He doesn't have a head. It's just a mask. That's freaky. Also, I'll just zoom out. I don't really get why that tiny little zoomed in camera view exists. You can't zoom in farther than this. You can, and it's like you get like 9/10 of the screen this way anyway. It's a bit silly. But yeah, once this guy goes down, the level will basically be over. So, you know, anytime the cannons and the bow and arrow and the Tesla towers want to start firing and kill this guy off. Come on. Anytime now. I'll fast forward this on the edit, I promise. Please, just die. Good lord. Come on. Just die already, please. Come on, you've got like... Come on, Tesla. Do more damage than that. Please. Yep, bloody time. So once you get that mask, the level's over. You get little stats like this. Unfortunately, as you can see, I lost 1 of the bloody things. So that would not have counted for a rainbow. I already have a rainbow on that stage. But yeah, you can't get to those stages unless you have 2 rainbows. I haven't even finished this one yet, but I have a feeling that there's a gate down at the bottom right there that you can just barely see. So there's a lot of different stages. You've got all sorts of different little concepts, like this one here, which are basically just trees all over the place, and you need to guard from constantly maneuvering enemies. You've got this one up here, which is just basically defend the gate. If I just go back to the main menu and go back to the Tiki Hut, you've got challenges here. Clear the specified stage with 25 or more gems. Clear the specified stage without tower ever upgrading. I've been playing for like a couple of hours now, and I haven't gotten a single stage, so I have to admit this is a pretty difficult game, and the trophies will keep you going for a while if you want to get them. So I'm just going to go back and play another level in the randomly generated one. Whatever. So yeah, this is PixelJunk Monsters. It is not out as of this video being recorded at the very least, but it will be out on the 30th of July in America and the 31st of July in Europe. And the funny thing is, Japan doesn't even have a release date on this game yet, as far as I know. And the funny thing is, the original developers of this game are actually Japanese, because 011 are handling the port. 011 being the guys behind the fantastic Little Big Planet Vita. What do I think of it? It can be really frustrating, but I imagine this is that sort of game that gets really rewarding after a while once you figure out what you're doing. Like, I'm playing on casual and I'm still having trouble playing it, so I don't know if that's just me sucking or if it's just the game being really hard. But nevertheless, it is enjoyable. it's a little bit of, if you want to play it, just put a little bit of time into it to make sure you get the most out of it. I mean, like, with all the challenges and the, and all the different levels and the fact you have to perfect everything to really get going, it takes a lot of, it'll take a lot of work to get good at this game, but once you do, I imagine it'll be very fulfilling. It's funny how bum looks more like a set of bollocks than it does an actual backside. Only I would think of that. Anyway, I'm just gonna shut up now because I don't have anything else to say. Is the game worth buying? Yes, with that little pinch of salt that if you don't like tower defense games or you want something that's a little less challenging or a little bit less trial and error, this is probably not the game for you, but it's still pretty good nonetheless. I wonder why that cannon just barely. I mean, come on, you'd think that cannon in the top left there would just be able to hit that, just be able to hit the path of the enemies as they're coming in, but apparently not. But nevertheless, it's a good game. It's worth your time. Not sure what else I can say about it really, so I think this is the point where I just shut up and let you and turn the volume up and let you enjoy the rest of this level. And I'm gonna do just that. This has been BlueMaxima, and I'll see you all next time.